Royal Guard teaches cheeky tourist a lesson. Don't touch the Queen's Guard. A tourist in England learned that lesson the hard way in a video that was posted online Monday and has since gone viral. The man walks alongside the otherwise stoic Queen's Guard outside of what appears to be Windsor's Castle in London. As the soldier stops, turns, and continues back along his route, the mischievous tourist puts his arm on his shoulder and is abruptly shouted down. "Step back from the Queen's Guard," the soldier, dressed in the traditional red uniform and bearskin hat, shouted into the startled man's face as he draws his large weapon and points it at the man. Keeping a straight face can be hard at the best of times, but now people are fearing that a royal guard will lose his job after giggling whilst working. The unlucky soldier couldn't contain his laughter after an American tourist began to joke about two being lifelong friends, with the entire moment being caught on camera. After going viral on Reddit, several people have claimed that the soldier was doomed from the first twitch as he struggles to contain his laughter. The clip opens with an unknown tourist claiming he'd known the Royal Guard for over 30 years, with the bemused soldier looking at the camera under his helmet. The antics then quickly begin to escalate as the tourist jokes that the pair went to school together, and even quips that they learnt martial arts together as children. "He was never talkative. I remember in school he just used to sit by himself," teased the visitor. "I was just this guy fooling around and having fun," he continued. "You'd ask him questions and he'd just answer with his head." The nearly 4-minute-long clip continues as the American tourist continues to goad the officer with more fake stories of their time at school, even saying that he'd answered no to his name. "What's your name?" "No." "Is that a name?" "His mother always had to pick him up from school until he was 20, yells the visitor, and his friends roar with laughter. Desperately trying to contain, the guard looks to his colleague for help but struggles to keep a straight face amid the contagious laugh. But the guard can't hold his stoic expression for long and breaks into a smile, shaking his head slightly. As the tourist and his friends fall about laughing, the poor guard tries to keep a straight face and quietly chuckles as the visitors walk away in hysterics. Most comments have been very sympathetic to the officer, with one kind-hearted commenter stating that he had a pretty great smile. One Redditor wrote, "From the first little twitch, you can see that this is a battle he wouldn't win. He gets redder until he can't take no more," wrote one viewer. Others have commented on the poor officer going red as the video progresses, as he tries to remain professional. The clip has proved so popular, in fact, that many people have called for a subreddit to be made of royal guards laughing. However, one sympathetic Redditor said that he could get fined and fired just for laughing due to the strict rules the guards follow. They added that rules are so harsh that most royal guards won't catch themselves if they collapse from heat, they just fall flat on their face. The event is often incredibly rare, as most guards have to adhere to incredibly strict rules whilst on duty, which forbids laughing or smiling. This also includes being unable to catch themselves if they faint in the heat. The video went viral this week after it was uploaded to YouTube, aptly titled, "Why You Don't Harass the Queen's Guard." A spokesman for the British Ministry of Defence told the British newspaper, The Evening Standard, that the soldier was well within his rights and would not be disciplined. "It's disappointing that a member of the public has shown such disrespect to a member of the Queen's Guard," the spokesperson said, according to the newspaper. "The Queen's Guard is under orders to protect Her Majesty, the palace, and his post." The video was so convincing that Twitter account No Context Brits, which has almost 800,000 followers, questioned whether it was real. So, is there any truth to it? On May 12, 2022, a video was tweeted showing a member of the Queen's Guard turning to what looks like a tourist, shouting, "Get back from the Queen's Guard." He then points the rifle in the direction of the tourist. A flash appears from the gun with the sound of it being fired. What sounds like screams are also heard in the background. It's been watched more than 266,000 times since it was posted. The video was reposted on No Context Brits, a Twitter account with 797,000 followers, with the question, "Is this real?" The Queen's Guard are infantrymen of the British Army's Household Division, who protects the Queen's residences, including Buckingham Palace. The Household Division has guarded the royal palaces since the 17th century. Their role in ceremonial duties, such as the trooping of the color and distinctive uniforms, have also made them part of Britain's iconography. However, some mistakenly believe their role is purely ceremonial, which has led to tourists coming to blows while the guard carries out their duties. Thankfully, the video shared on Twitter is only a mock-up of another clip that had been online for several years. The original clip, which has 18 million views on YouTube, shows a visitor to one of the royal residences following a soldier's march. The visitor then reaches out and touches the guard on the shoulder. Like the edited clip on Twitter, the guard shouts and points his rifle, but he doesn't fire. The visitor can be seen quickly running away, shocked but unharmed. Other clips of the Royal Guard reprimanding tourists have been shared millions of times online. Incidents include guards shouting at or pushing people who disrupt their duties. In December 2021, a video viewed more than 2 million times showed a Royal Guard trampling over a child in the Tower of London's grounds. A UK Ministry of Defense spokesman said at the time that the soldier checked on the child following the incident and was reassured that all was well. The Ministry of Defense spokesperson added, "Since that incident, a rope has now been installed at that sentry position that keeps tourists away and stops people approaching the guard." They added, "It's disappointing that a member of the public has shown such disrespect towards the Queen's Guard. The soldier's there to protect the Queen, himself, and the sentry position. He reacts appropriately." Another shocking moment. The Queen's Guard has essential duties. After all, they're charged with guarding the official royal residences of the United Kingdom. So when one of the soldiers is on duty, it's probably best not to get in the way, as one tourist has found out. An undated video has emerged of a woman who's jumped a rope for a photo at Windsor Castle. Little did she know that a soldier in full regalia was approaching, and he wasn't best pleased that she was blocking his way. He gave her a big shove, and she was catapulted forward, letting out a scream as she went. Luckily, she didn't lose her balance. The soldier continued without so much of breaking much of a stride. The Queen's Guards are allowed to stamp their feet, shout at mischievous tourists, or raise a rifle and detain problem visitors. Last year, a tourist during a ridiculous jig outside St. James Palace in London was caught on camera being yelled at by a Queen's Guard. The man is seen displaying a humble selection of dad dance moves for about 15 seconds until the guard behind him grows tired of his antics and tells him what he really thinks of the performance. "Ho, get yours away," the soldier yells in thick Scottish brogue. It's happened again. Britain's longest-serving monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, died on September 8th at the age of 96 in Scotland. A couple of days before her death, a video surfaced on the internet which showed a Queen's Guard changing his course after a tourist refused to move out of his way. The King's Guard, or the Queen's Guard when the ruling monarch is a woman, are a group of highly trained cavalry soldiers who are entrusted with the security of the sovereign and the royal residences. Recently, a video clip that was posted on TikTok showed one of the guards being interrupted by a tourist in London, reported Lad Bible. The Queen's Guard was wearing the signature red and white uniform while wielding two swords. However, as soon as he made a right turn, he came face to face with a tourist who continued to stand in the same spot, reported the publication. The duo exchanged a few words, after which the guard marched to his corner as he spoke to a nearby police officer. Disrespectful tourist refuses to move. This is why the Queen's Guard should never be polite. The text over the footage read, added the report. The Queen's Guard is nearly unmissable with their tall bearskin hats and bright red tunics, a clear marker of Buckingham Palace and the British monarchy. They stand guard around the royal residences. The report by Lad Bible also contained netizens' reactions to the incidents that unfolded just before the announcement of Queen Elizabeth II's death last week. One comment showed a user trying to defend the tourist. "I think the tourist didn't even realize he was standing in the wrong place." While another claimed that the man talked to his fellow traveler in Polish. "How am I supposed to know where he wants to walk?" Another comment read, "I mean, the guy says after, 'How should I know I'm in his way?' and kind of fair, the guard showed no sign of going that direction until the end." This interesting moment didn't end. No trip to England would be complete without a trip to Windsor Castle to witness the changing of the guard ceremony. Each day, the guards tasked with protecting the Queen march in procession on the grounds of Windsor Castle so that the regiment can hand over duty to the new guard. Tourist Joanna Feng happened to be visiting the grounds one chilly January day and wound up capturing an incredibly special and rare moment. While Joanna was waiting for the procession to appear, she noticed a little boy dressed up as one of the regiment. Marshall Scott is only 4 years old, but he's completely enamored with the idea of the Queen's Guard. His mom even gave him a tiny replica of the Guard's summer uniform so that he can play dress-up anytime he wants. This particular day happened to be Marshall's birthday, so his mom surprised him with a visit to see the Guard in person. Joanna happened to capture the adorable moment when Marshall saw his idols in the flesh for the first time. The best part of this interaction? The Guard saw him too. As the guards pass into their quarters after a long shift, little Marshall stands at attention and gives them a very serious salute. As we'd expect, the guards do not react at all to the sweet child's presence. These officers are highly trained and renowned for their stalwart appearance. Many a tourist has tried to break their deadpan expressions or induce a reaction of some kind, only to find that these men are like Fort Knox. Right after the guards left the grounds, one of the soldiers does an about-face, returns to the little boy. He gestures for the child to come to him, and you can see Marshall's mom scrambling in her purse for her camera. The guard's name is Lance Corporal Paul Eden, and he clearly couldn't resist giving this tiny version of himself a nod of encouragement. The guard stood stock still and allowed Marshall's mom and Joanna to take pictures of the two. He then gave the little boy a solemn nod of his bushy head and returned to the barracks. Joanna, who witnessed and recorded the whole scene, described the moment as one of the best moments in my life. We're certain that Marshall and his mom could say the same thing. Who knows, this small act of kindness from Lance Corporal Eden could encourage Marshall to become a guard himself one day. Never costs a thing to be kind, and that kindness creates a ripple effect felt around the world. In a statement obtained by Insider on Tuesday, an Army spokesman said they take all incidents like this seriously and hope that all tourists who visit to see the guards have an enjoyable time. This area is particularly busy with tourists, and on occasion, these soldiers undertaking guard duty need to shout loudly to alert members of the public if they get too close to the horses, which happened in this case, the statement said. We have signs placed along the horse boxes stating that the horses bite and would always encourage the public not to get close to the horses, as, after all, they are animals and can be unpredictable. The National Army Museum website states that the Horse Guard unit was formed in 1969 and is one of 2 household cavalry regiment in the British Army, alongside the Life Guards. According to London-topia, a blog of insights into the capital city, protocol dictates that royal guards should not smile and the public should avoid touching them. In this type of instance, the site said, guards are allowed to shout at the public to issue warnings. In December of last year, another King's Guard was filmed screaming at a tourist as she slapped his horse. The young woman, wearing a white and blue coat, was filmed posing for a photo with a soldier who was stationed at the Horse Guards parade in London's Whitehall. The unidentified woman was filmed standing next to the animal, ready to pose for a photo, as it moved its muzzle closer to her shoulder. She then seemed to brazenly slap the animal on the nose and grins for the camera before putting her hands back in her pocket. The guard screamed, "Stand back!" In September 2022, a King's Guard told a little girl to stand clear as he walked to the outside space at the Horse Guards parade, which prompted her to break into a tearful outburst as she rushed to find her parents. They're famous for their red outfits and can be spotted standing stoically outside royal landmarks such as Buckingham Palace. Royal guards are not generally allowed to talk to the public, but can occasionally shout a warning in some circumstances, for example, when people obstruct them or there's a threat to safety. What do you think about this clip?